Welcome into the Vikings Central podcast. I'm here with Ryan today. Ryan, how we doing?
Wonderful. Another beautiful day.
Yes, sir. Yeah. Well, he's in Florida, so yeah, he can talk like that. So us guys in Minnesota aren't as lucky. It's pretty nice up here. It's like 45, 50. So hey, I'll take it. Alrighty. So we're gonna do a little game today. I'm gonna ask Ryan some questions here. We're gonna play a Vikings edition Would You Rather, and it's gonna basically be draft specific. So it's gonna be a lot of fun. Obviously, the draft's coming up 3 weeks from tomorrow. It's getting closer every single day. So very exciting. But before
Oh,
we get into the video, I do want to just shout out our sponsor real quick. That's Badass Wood Art. Use code VC15 for 15% off your order. Go to that'sbadasswoodart.com and Luis will get you hooked up. All right, Ryan, any questions before? Anything you want to
man,
say?
we're doing Would You Rather. I thought you told me we're playing F, Mary Kill. What are we doing here?
I mean, that's maybe another episode.
Oh, okay.
All righty. So I got my first one here for you. I think I know the answer to this question, but I think it's going to be very relevant here in the near future because the Vikings could go either direction here. So would you rather? Okay, would you rather trade 3 first-round picks for Drake May? So that'd probably be 11, 23, and probably a future first, or keep your 2025 pick and draft JJ McCarthy.
Ooh. I mean, so a first round pick isn't a guarantee hit. Obviously we've seen that several times over the years, right?
For sure.
If you have a guy in mind and that guy is Drake May, then yeah, give up the 2025 first. I would rather if Drake May is available for them, whether it's at 2 or 3, I don't see Washington trading out, but sure. I would rather they give up that first and end up with Drake May than be able to keep that first in 2025 and get JJ McCarthy. I like the prospect of Drake May more. I don't necessarily think he's as polished as JJ McCarthy. JJ McCarthy might be a little more pro ready as far as his mechanics go and pocket awareness. And I think Drake May tends to, every once in a while, he won't have his feet fully set when he throws it, and you kind of see that happen. But in my opinion, I think those are easy fixes. You did see JJ McCarthy struggle with throws outside the numbers. Not that he doesn't have the arm strength, he does have the arm strength, but his accuracy outside the numbers was sometimes in question. So I don't know. I think the prospect of Drake May, I've always said this, he's a comparison to me is if you took Justin Herbert and Josh Allen and combined them. He's got the accuracy when he has his mechanics set. He has the accuracy of Justin Herbert with the arm strength of both of them, but he can move like Josh Allen. So, yes, I think that Drake May is the second best quarterback in this draft behind Caleb Williams, and that would be my first. Yeah, give up 3 first-round picks. I'm totally okay with that.
I agree, especially when you have Kevin O'Connell, where I feel like if Drake May comes to Minnesota and KOC gets his hands on Drake May, like the ceiling is so high. Like I think he turns into a superstar within the next few years, if everything goes right. And then next year, we got all that cap space as well. So it won't be the end of the world if we don't have a first rounder. We wouldn't have a second rounder either. But at the same time, you just got to start hitting on these draft picks anyway. Get your quarterback of the future. Keep building via free agency, and we're gonna get some comp picks next year too, some thirds. So if we need to move back up into the second round, I'm sure Kwesi can make that happen. So I agree with you. I think Drake May has one of the highest like boom potential in this draft class. I think he'd fit really well here in Minnesota, for sure.
Yeah, 100%. And again, I think Washington's a huge question mark.
Yeah, for sure.
And I don't think that you'll see a trade up until draft night.
Yeah.
Just because we don't know what Washington's going to do.
For sure.
I'm like 99% sure that they're not trading out. They're going to take somebody, but but now it was Drake May was the favorite at number 2. Then Vegas just changed it they changed it a few weeks back to Jaden Daniels, and now they changed it back to Drake May. And I mean, it keeps going back and forth, and so who knows? I mean, really, but if he's available and at 3 and New England's willing to trade down, then yeah, I think you
trade the farm. I mean, I'd be fine with it. Go get your quarterback of the future for sure.
Mm-hmm.
So this second question is kind of for you. I know you love the trenches. If you don't know Ryan, he loves the trenches. So I'm getting a little specific here. Kind of going to lean towards 2 specific prospects. All right, so say we keep pick number 23. We use 11 on either its best player available or maybe a quarterback drops or something like that. So say we keep pick number 23. Would you rather, and both of these guys are available, would you rather draft Byron Murphy Jr. or Jackson Powers Johnson at pick number 23?
Oh, wow. As sick of Garrett Bradbury as I am, I think I would go Byron Murphy here. I think he will have a bigger impact immediately
for sure
than Jackson Powers Johnson. I think as good as Jackson Powers Johnson is, I think in any other draft with good center prospects, he probably wouldn't be the best center available. So honestly, I think he's more of like a second round talent that'll probably go in the first round because a team like Pittsburgh or a team like Dallas needs a center.
Sure.
And he is the best center in the draft. But Byron Murphy, if he were to drop to pick 23, first of all, I mean, that's a steal because he's probably, I mean, him or Newton are the 2 best interior defensive linemen in the draft. And so if you can get an interior defensive lineman at pick 23 who's clearly dominant and he has all the things you look for in an interior defensive lineman, he's super quick off the ball. Penetration is incredible into the backfield. He's all the things that you look for out of someone out of that, whatever you want it, if it's a 2 or 3 technique. I don't see him playing directly over the ball, but in that, 3 tech, he would be an absolute monster. So I would lean Byron Murphy, and then later in the draft, hopefully address that center position.
Sure. Yeah,
they seem to really like the dude from LSU.
Yep.
Charles. I can't remember his name right now. It'll come to me later, but I mean, he seems to be a guy that could be polished up into a good center, but someone that you'd take in later in like the 6th round.
For sure. Is that the guy that they have a visit? I think they had a top 30 visit with him. Yep. For sure. I can't think of his name right now either, but pairing him with Ed Ingram, 2 LSU boys.
LSU guys.
So, they played ball together. So,
you know me, I like SEC football a lot too. So,
heck yeah.
So yes, I would say if Byron Murphy's there. So, and I think for that to happen, I do think it would mean that JJ McCarthy slipped to 11.
Sure.
Because I see them packaging those picks to move up if they have to.
Yep, agreed.
And honestly, I could see JJ McCarthy slip into 11. I know everyone thinks it's like impossible, but if you really look at it, the only thing that you really have to fear is the Broncos or Raiders jumping over you.
Right.
And I've said this a million times. I think that if they make an offer, whoever they make an offer to is immediately going to call Minnesota to try to get a better offer, and they're going to have the ability to still move up if they need to.
For sure.
Right?
Agreed.
I think the Giants quarterback talk is all smokescreen. I don't think that they're actually going to take a quarterback. I think their fan base I've several Giants fans I've talked to, not a single one wants them to take a quarterback. Sure. So not that you listen to the fan base, of course, but at the same time, like, if you take a quarterback and the fan base is irate, like your job is immediately up for grabs.
I'm kind of getting, it's not the like exact comparing to this situation, but like Will Levis last year, like he was getting a lot of top 10 talk and a lot of steam, and then he ended up falling to the second round. I don't think JJ is going to fall out of the first round at all.
No, I
but
don't either.
at the same time, he might not go as high as everyone's saying right now because
Yep.
there's a lot of scuttlebutt going on. There's a lot of just a lot of talk, a lot of smoke screens. One of those guys, and it will be JJ McCarthy, would be more than likely to fall to the top 10. It's
Yep.
possible, for sure.
And when you look back at draft history, right? Like how many times throughout in the NFL draft have you seen 5 quarterbacks go in the top 10?
For sure.
I think it's happened one other time.
Yeah.
5 quarterbacks in the top 10.
For sure.
So I don't know. It is either 4 or 5, but so I fully believe JJ McCarthy could slip to 11, which would honestly be incredible. Charles Turner.
It would be.
I just
it would be.
Up.
Oh, sure.
Yeah. But
gotcha.
JJ McCarthy slipping to 11 would be great for the Vikes.
That'd be a dream scenario.
I would still rather Drake May, but
yeah,
even though the cost is much more significant, but
for sure. No, I agree with you, and I agree with your take on Byron Murphy Jr. as well. As much as Garrett Bradbury is not like a superstar or anything like that, I trust him more than our interior defensive line at this point. So to add a weapon like Byron Murphy Jr. or Johnny Newton or someone that is really versatile, stop the run, get after the passer, I'd for sure take that over, replacing a center that is capable, at least in Garrett Bradbury. So
yeah, maybe not the hottest of takes, but
right, for sure,
probably the right move.
I agree. All right, my next one is a little bit more. We're talking about specific rooms right now, so I'm going to focus on the wide receiver room and the running back room. Okay, so it'd probably be towards the middle of the draft because we don't have a lot of compensation, obviously, to deal with. But would you rather draft a wide receiver 3 for this team, or maybe add another running back to the running back room? So you got Justin Jefferson, Jordan Addison, and Aaron Jones and Ty Chandler. Who do you think kind of needs another weapon in either of those rooms?
So I lean much more heavier to to running back. I think that bringing Aaron Jones is huge, but again, he's on a 1-year contract. I like Ty Chandler a lot, but he's shown his weakness in pass blocking ability. Yep. And so while losing KJ Osborne, I think is affects the team more than people realize, because he was a great blocker on the edge as well in the run game and pass screens and those kinds of things. They did bring in Trent Sherfield, and yep. I think Brandon Powell proved last year how effective he can be, especially on those third downs and those short and intermediate routes. So I think that they feel comfortable. I definitely think they feel comfortable with the wide receiver room right now. And I do think that while, again, Aaron Jones is a good addition, incredible addition, that down the line, they're going to need somebody that can be I wouldn't say every down back, because I think they're always going to kind of be a running back by committee type of team with Kevin O'Connell there. And Ty Chandler's too talented to not have him on the field. For sure. But I think bringing in a running back, especially like a bruiser, like a Dylan Johnson out of Washington, someone like that can definitely boost this team a lot, especially in short yardage. And we won't have to ask Brandon Powell to push our quarterback in for a first down. So yeah, I think I would go running back over wide receiver right now.
Yep. So, like you said, Brandon Powell, more than capable last year. They're still high on Jalen Naylor if he could just stay healthy. Like when he gets on the field, like he's productive, but he just cannot stay healthy. Injuries in training camp, and then he's dealt with concussions, I think. So, they got weapons over there. And, obviously Justin Jefferson, Jordan Addison, there's only so many targets that are going to be able to go around anyway. Those are going to be the two main guys. And then when TJ comes back healthy, he's going to take a lot of targets as well. And he can play in the slot, as a tight end even. Yep. So, I agree with you. Aaron Jones on a 1-year deal. Obviously, he's going to be an impact here for 2024, but beyond that, we just really don't know. And then Ty Chandler, probably not like an every down back, but for sure a guy that's explosive. And like you said, you want him on the field. So adding a guy again like Dylan Johnson, or even like, I don't know if Blake Corum will go all the way to the 4th round, but you just never know. And I'm a fan of Tyrone Tracy out of Purdue.
Yeah.
But
Marshawn Lloyd out of USC.
yep. Lloyd's another one. I think one of the mock drafts had. I think Alec Lewis had him going to the Vikings in his latest mock draft, and I think
So, yeah,
he would be a good fit in Minnesota as well. So,
yeah. I mean, it's not a running back heavy draft. The best running
yeah,
back is Brooks out of Texas,
yep,
but once you get like later, there's a lot of very serviceable running backs that could make an impact on the team.
for sure.
I've mentioned Vidal too, Kamani
Yep.
Vidal out of Detroit,
Oh,
and
yep.
Dylan
I really like him
Johnson.
too.
Yeah, and Marshawn and Lloyd out of
Yep.
USC. So yeah, I think that one of these late round guys could definitely make an impact for him right away.
Yeah, for sure, and that makes sense. Like you said, we don't have a lot of high picks. I mean, not like you said, not a lot of running backs are going to go that high anyway. So we're kind of
Mm-hmm.
in the sweet spot anyway. A fourth, fifth round pick to nab one of those guys, I think would make a lot of sense.
Yep.
So my final one here. All right, in this situation, all right, all the top four quarterbacks got selected. Vikings missed out. So we're sitting here at pick 11. All right. You're Quasi in this situation. So would you rather think about trading down from 11, maybe garner a second or third round pick, or would you stay at 11 and take best player available, maybe a quarterback, or trade? You can still trade down and maybe get like a Michael Penix Jr. What would you kind of do in that situation if we were sitting at 11 and the top four quarterbacks were already taken?
So I think in this case, we would have gotten jumped by the Broncos or Raiders.
Sure.
Probably the Broncos.
Yep.
And that's a tough one. At 11, I guess it would kind of depend how the board would fall. I would lean toward trading back.
Sure.
I think you can acquire some picks and even maybe pick next year, be able to get that second rounder back or so, something
Yep.
like that. And then you can take best player available at 11, 23 comes around, Penix,
Yep.
I think would probably be there. I think if you don't address the quarterback situation this year, you're doing a disservice. And I mean, you'll be able to find out. You'll find out pretty quick if Penix or whoever you take is the guy or not.
For sure.
And so, even though I'm not super high on Penix, I think at 23, if for whatever reason we do get past, all four quarterbacks are gone, you can trade back, build some more draft capital that you might need next year. Take the guy like Penix at 23. And even at that point, you're not as invested into the quarterback,
Sure.
right? You can throw him in right away, see what you got. If he turns out to be great, we got our guy. If he turns out to not be great, we'll know pretty quickly, right? And then we know that next year we need to address the quarterback situation again.
Yeah.
And people, you wasted a first round pick. Yeah. I mean,
It is what
kind
it
of,
is.
I guess, but it's, we didn't trade several to get them. It just fell to us at the same time. So, and I mean, if you people miss, man. If you really look at first round quarterbacks throughout the history of the NFL, right, you got about a 30% success rate, and it also kind of depends on how you define success, right? Franchise quarterback versus a successful NFL career, because Baker Mayfield, would you say that was a successful hit for the Browns? I mean, he's having a resurrection, so it depends on how you would define it. But overall, I would say you got about a 30%. If you go back and look, which I've done, at every single first round quarterback taken, how many of them actually pan out? It's about 30%. 30 to 35, depending on your definition of success. Okay. So when you look at what San Fran did trading up for Trey Lance, it was a huge bust, right? But they hit on a 7th round quarterback. So, it isn't the end of the world if you miss on a quarterback.
For sure.
But you have to try.
That's exactly it. That's exactly it. And a franchise that hasn't tried very often in the draft, it's time. And like you said, you got a 30 to 35% hit rate. But if you do hit in that percentage, you're set for the next decade.
I mean, if sorry, not to interrupt, but if they hit on at 23 and they
Yeah.
hit on a quarterback,
Yeah.
now you look like a genius. Like,
That's very true. That's very true. And if they are high on Michael Penix, maybe that's the direction they might go. Who really knows? And like you said, they're gonna know if he's got it or he doesn't. I think he's like 24 or 25 already. Like he's been
yeah,
developing here for the next few years, and you're gonna know if he's gonna be a success in the NFL. And it's crazy to think if there is 5 quarterbacks taken in the first round, probably only 2 of them are going to be major hits, and that's crazy to think about, especially in a draft class like this. But yeah, that's interesting to think about. At the same time, all more than likely, they're going to trade up into the top 4, top 5 for sure, and grab one of these guys. That's probably the likely situation for the Vikings, but
I would think
it's fun to
so.
look at. Yeah,
You know, a lot of that you're going to hear the craziest scenarios for the next 3 weeks. That's for sure.
yeah,
I
for
mean,
sure.
everything possible is going to get thrown out there.
Yep,
Ultimately, I think that you got to just look at the writing at the wall on the wall and see, and you can tell what the overall plan is. Okay,
yep,
and I mean, it doesn't take a MIT student to figure out that they're clearly looking to make a move
for sure.
up to be able to get a quarterback.
Yep,
And I really do think that they know something, that they have a plan, and they've already been, prepping for this plan to happen, and they probably have a contingency right behind it. So
for sure.
I don't know. I know this, and you know this because I've told you. I know Drake May wants to be a Viking,
For sure.
but he wants to be an NFL player, right? Who's going to say otherwise?
Right.
Uh, and why wouldn't you, with the pieces that they have in place as a rookie coming out of college? Of course, you want to be. Anyone wants to throw to. I want to be a Viking. I want to throw to Justin Jefferson. But yes, I've heard from his camp that he wants to come to Minnesota. That's for sure.
Yeah, and like you said, it makes all the sense in the world. He's the best ideal fit for this offense, in my opinion. 3-level passer, athletic, just fits whatever Kevin O'Connell will ask him to do, and it does make a lot of sense. Like you said, you've heard straight from the source. He wants to be a Viking, and if it ends up that way, it's a match made in heaven. But anything else you want to add, Ryan, before we move on?
Just if it is May and he ends up here, there's going to be crazy amount of excitement. But
Yeah.
what I'll tell you and the fan base, don't expect a week 1 starter out of Drake May.
Well,
I don't think he's going to come in and start week 1 no matter what. And I don't think JJ McCarthy would either. I think you'll see Sam Darnold.
yeah.
And if there's success, it's going to be Sam Darnold,
Yep.
for
Yep.
for the year if there's success there. But if they're struggling and the Vikings end up not a competitive team, then I think you'll see that quarterback change. But don't get worked up about it. I think that there's a lot of value in having someone sit for a year. And if you're expecting next year to be division champs even or something like that, I don't think that you're going to see that.
Yeah, like a CJ Stroud situation. It's probably not going to happen where he's going to come in and light up the world. But at the same time, he does have the potential to. But that's what the Sam Darnold signing was for, just to be that bridge quarterback. And if the rookie does make noise in training camp and wins the job, hallelujah. All the credit to him. So, but
Exactly.
yeah, for sure. Well, thank you, Ryan. It was a fun little exercise we did here. I'm going to shout out our sponsor one more time. That's Badass Wood Art. Use code VC15 for 15% off your order. We'll see you guys in the next one.